Sausage.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Scratch My Nose show. No, the Attack the Backlog podcast. New video game edition. I need to get some kind of consistency with how I start these episodes, but this is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Krishnez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This new set of episodes, this being the first episode, is all about System Shock, specifically the 2023 remake from Night Dive Studios, which I have played, and my nose, what is happening? I have never played the original, nor System Shock 2, though I am a big fan of BioShock, which is often referred to as a spiritual successor to specifically System Shock 2, and I've heard plenty say that it's basically just System Shock 2. Again, they're basically the same game. I can't speak to that, but I adore BioShock, and I've always been interested about these System Shock games, and since System Shock, the remake, recently came out on consoles, I decided it was a perfect time for me to jump into the series and check it out. I have the game on PC, but me and PC just don't tend to get along, so here we are. And before I get to my feelings and all that good jazz, I want to say, in case anyone wants to play along and treat this like a game club, this is only covering the medical wing, the first area of the game. I have no idea how big the game is, how far I am into the game. I am assuming I'm playing through it very slowly because I feel like I'm playing through it very slowly. It took me just under 4 hours to get through the medical wing, which if you've already played the game or have played it multiple times especially, you're probably saying, what on earth? How could it take you that long? Because it sure feels like I've spent at least twice as long you should play in there. But if you would like to play along, that is the only thing that will be covered on this episode. So here we go. I love this game. I really, really love it. And there are a few reasons for that. First and foremost, it is reminding me of why I love video games. Because this is the kind of game that I used to play all the time and loved. A game that throws you into this world, doesn't tell you that much, and leaves it for you to explore and learn and discover on your own. It's been somewhat of a hurdle initially playing a game like this, just because I haven't played something like this in a while, and given my mental and emotional state ever since pretty much COVID, and then exacerbated when my dad had his stroke, I was maybe scared off by these games and didn't want to get too invested and was hard to distract myself. But I am absolutely loving this and getting invested in this world, getting lost in this world. It's been a great distraction, but more so than anything, it's been a great reminder of why video games are so special and why I love them so much. And that is why I have just devoured every inch of this game and its world. It is very reminiscent of BioShock, or BioShock is very reminiscent of this, even though it is often referred to as a spiritual successor to System Shock 2. And there may be similarities between all three games. But right at the start, opening with this drone's perspective, or just the flying machine's perspective, going through the city in a very Fifth Element type of way, but flying through the city before appearing outside your apartment. It reminded me of the beginning of BioShock, where you get to the lighthouse, and then descend towards the city underwater. And then you have your first puzzle, which is very pipe dream-esque. It doesn't work exactly the same way. And I was being reminded of this game I love so much while being in this new world on this space station, which is, again, it's like a city underwater, but it's a city in the skies. And it also reminded me a little bit of Lockout, just because, hey, you were in this flying city and then you're now in space in some, not prison, but in a space station. And it just made me immediately fall in love with the mystery of it all and the tension of it all. Because you are this hacker who is caught and used to release the restraints on this AI, Shodan, so that Diego, I believe his name is, can do whatever he wants to do. I'm still learning a lot about what has happened since I've been under and woken up in this now abandoned station full of humanoid mutants who are essentially zombies and your main adversaries in at least the first area. There are some cyborg beings that are shooting at you and remind me of the baddie from Farscape. And I'm just going through this world, this station, this level for this first episode, exploring every inch, and it's such a satisfying area to explore because there are plenty of doors that are locked off to you. And as you explore more and more in this labyrinthine area, this very well designed space, you'll explore more and more and come across a door on the other side with a switch to open it, and then you create a shortcut that allows you to more freely and quickly explore this environment, which is always very, very satisfying to find one of those doors and open them up. The way Shodan interacts with you, especially as you start destroying all of the cameras scattered across the level to lower the security level, she'll start bringing up humanoid mutants from the ground to attack you and sending off more cyborgs. And it's just a lot of fun. It's very tense when I hear one of the humanoid mutants breathing and sighing somewhere, but I can't see them. That's freaky. And sometimes I can never find them. I just hear them and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Where are they? Every time I open a bathroom, I, for a second, think, there's going to be something in here. There's never been anything inside any of the bathrooms. Not even a floating turd. But maybe one time there will be. Because I always think of, in BioShock, that time I went into the dentist's office, and then I turned around and there was a freaking psycho behind me, and it scared the living crap out of me. One of the scariest things I've ever experienced in a game. But I am loving just the experience of getting lost in a world again. There are clear indicators of how this game is of its age. The combat isn't as interesting or complicated, intricate as, say, BioShock, where you have the plasmids and your weapons and you can mix them together and utilize the environment. So far, at least, it's just, here's a melee weapon. You start, again, very BioShocky. You get a lead pipe, but you also get, fairly early on, a wrench that I've been using to smash a lot of humanoid mutants. But you also get some handguns and machine guns that use bullets, and then some energy weapons. Things might get more interesting as I explore the next area of this facility is the research area, which is where I'm at now. I haven't explored it at all. I left just going up the elevator. But I just absolutely loved going through the world. It looks great. This remake looks really, really nice. It still has that pixely look to it when you look at stuff close in detail, but it's a very high fidelity, pixely look. The colors are great. It is easy to get lost when you're first exploring it because so much of it just looks the same, but the map is pretty good at, it's not always great at explaining different levels, but because while you're on one level, there will be things that are on different floors. But it's pretty good and easy to navigate and understand once you explore it more and get more accustomed to how the world works. And there are so many ways in which shortcuts reveal themselves. So many, oh, this is that, I saw this from here. I was looking up and this is that part that I saw an hour ago, 30 minutes ago. I love that. That's why I loved the original Dark Souls so much. And it just is really satisfying and rewarding to feel this way about not only just a single game again, but have a greater sense that I'm starting to remember why I love this industry and games as much as I do. It's not perfect, especially this version, the console version. It feels very much so like a PC game that's been put onto consoles as opposed to one that's been ported to consoles. Specifically in some of the cumbersome nature of the way you do certain things. It feels really good. Movement, combat, all of that feels great. And the game runs well. But inventory management in particular can be a little bit clunky. It doesn't always explain everything. I'm not even sure if it tells you in any of the settings in the control schemes how to do all the stuff. I realized very late in my playtime so far that there's a contextual menu you get when going through your inventory if you press Y that allows you to use certain items like potato chips, candy, and drinks to give yourself a very little bit of health, but it also allows you to vaporize junk, which I wish I knew way early on because I probably spent an hour of the game just going around collecting junk and vaporizing so it would consolidate into these little scrap pieces so that they don't take up so much inventory space, and then you take those to recycling stations to get some good old coin for yourself, which is used to purchase food from vending machines, ammo from ammo machines, and maybe some weapon mods and stuff of that nature. I have a lot of coin now because I was going around and trying to find as much of the stuff I could remember where it was to vaporize and then recycle, which is a very me thing to do, and I don't expect a lot of people to do it unless you were vaporizing from the very beginning, which I wish I was, because I want that money. And the clunky thing about the inventory management is just that it's clear if you were using a mouse to be able to do a lot of things faster, like moving items between your inventory and the recycling station. You drag each item individually. There's no quick move this to the other screen button. And to drop things, you might be able to do that with a contextual menu, but I was doing it for the most part by clicking something and dragging it outside of the inventory. Stuff of that nature would be obviously a lot easier with a mouse. But if I could just press, say, the X button or the B button to drop an item, or to move it from one screen to another if I have two open, that would be really nice, but there's none of that. There's just a take all thing But in the case of the recycling station, that's just a take all of the stuff you put in the recycling station back into your inventory. And that's a little bit frustrating, but it's not too big of a problem. It's something you quickly get used to, and it's a lot easier now that I can vaporize things. That makes a lot of this inventory management a bit more manageable. There are healing stations and energy stations in the space station that allow you to heal yourself and replenish your energy, which you use for energy weapons. You can also replenish energy weapons with batteries if you want. You don't have to. And I'm just having an absolute blast. When Shodan talks to you, it's fun. I hope some of the enemies you're actually fighting get a bit more interesting and a bit more challenging, because right now combat's not super challenging unless I'm being bombarded with a lot of enemies and they can swarm me from all sides, because that can be a bit of a hassle. But I'm also doing my very usual thing of constantly going back to the healing station to heal myself, as opposed to using my healing, not pads, but I have things I can heal myself with on the go, and I'm not using them. I'm not using my regular bullet weapons right now, so I've got quite a lot of bullets stored up. Doing my usual, okay, I'm not going to use any of these stronger things until I have to, because I want to make sure I have it up until the end. I don't want to be at a point where I'm looking for this stuff and don't have any, and then I'm going to reach the end of the game like I did in BioShock or any of these other games where I have all these great toys that I've never used, and then the game ends and I'm like, shit, I should have been using some of this stuff, at least a little bit, while I was actually playing the game. That's something I need to get better about doing. Use the toys you have. Use them. That's what they're there for. And that's something that I usually do in a second, third playthrough when I know what to expect. I do that in Resident Evil. I do that in all these types of games. But it's been great so far, and I'm excited to play more. Again, I have no idea the scope of the game, how many more floors there are or aren't. I have no idea, but I'm excited to see more of it. I like the fact that when you are selecting the difficulty, there are 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and hard, and you could adjust them for 4 different settings. I believe it's combat, cyberspace, puzzles, and one other thing. But I love that you can adjust them individually, so that if you struggle with puzzles but you're fine with combat, you can make the combat super challenging with a 3, and then puzzles easy with the 1, etc. That just reminded me, cyberspace is this lawnmower S-Man thing where you go into the world, or hackers when they go first person into the computer world and you're flying around shooting cyber liginal things and going through different tunnels to reach something to unlock a door and stuff of that nature. It's kind of cool, but that's probably the part of the game I care the least about, because it's not me exploring this world where I feel tense and I'm worried, excited about what's around the next corner. It's just flying around in this cyberspace, shooting things, hoping I can find health sometimes when I take a lot of damage and I don't want to get thrown out of it. It's fine. But I don't know if I mentioned this too with the recycling stations though, but I wish, because there's just one recycling station on the medical wing, on the medical floor. And there's only one healing station. There are 2 energy stations. But I wish there was at least another recycling station somewhere. That's what also made me not recycle before I learned about being able to vaporize something into a smaller resource. it drove me nuts. I'm like, where? What? They expect everyone to come to this one recycling station? That sucks. I don't like that. And then the pipe dream puzzle. Did I say that there are multiple kinds? I like that. I appreciated that there were multiple kinds. That was very, very, very nice. Yeah. I'm loving System Shock. It's so good. It's so good. I hope I feel this way for the rest of the game. I don't want to be bait and switched. I don't want to have another instance of me being excited about a game. Though The Ascent, I was enjoying it well enough. But this, I'm in it. I didn't want to stop playing, but I said, this is probably a good stopping point. I have spent 4 hours in this area. Again, I think that's probably way longer than anyone should spend in there. Part of that is I spent at least 30 minutes when I realized you could vaporize stuff going around to all the areas I've already been to. Ooh, where's all this stuff? Ooh, medical trays, scalpels, scissors. I'm vaporizing all this stuff. Look at that. This area's got a dozen encyclopedias. They take up so much inventory space, I can only pick up 3 at a time, and then I vaporize them, and I pick up 3 more, and I vaporize them, and I pick up 3 more, and I vaporize them. And I was doing that because I'm a crazy person. But it's been wonderful. So that's System Shock. So far, just the medical wing. I'm assuming, unless it's very short, next episode will be just the research wing. And if there are other wings, then we'll keep doing this. We'll see how long this goes. Because I think in the email I got, because I got a code for the console version, but I already have the PC version. I have the original version as well on Steam, which I think I will check out. I don't know if I'll play the whole thing after I play through this to see how similar / different they are or aren't, which is going to be exciting. But I don't know where I was going with that. About the console version? What was I saying? It doesn't matter. Oh, in the email I got, I think they said if you put everything on easy and you're just... Because on easy as well, I believe there is some kind of navigation thing that is helping you know where you have to go. And that could be nice, but the way I am playing this game, I'm glad I don't have that. I don't know if that's an optional thing or if that's something you just press a button and it'll help you, or if it's something that's constantly there. I just like being thrust into this world and being free to find audio logs, to learn more about it, finding just data to expand the world and the lore of this world and learn more about what happened. Shodan as well, just to reiterate, great so far. Great voice acting. I love the voice work for Shodan. It's very creepy. Perfectly suiting the tone of this game. So I'm so excited. But I remember in the email, it said, if you play it on easy, it'll probably take you like 6 hours. Play it on hard, it'll take you like 25 hours. It's like, what? That's a big difference. But yeah, that will do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Mark Kuznez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS, where you get access to a monthly Q&A, a private Discord channel for the cool kids, random drops on the Patreon, as well as other goodies and randoms as well. Not random titties. Let's just move on. If you like any of this stuff and whatnot, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful day whenever you're listening to it. So, as always, thank you. I hit a wall. So, for now, adios, arrivederci,